With the US Supreme Court striking down President Trump's tariff policy, saying he exceeded authority, the big question is, what can or will India do? Will PM Modi's government take advantage of the situation and ask for better tariff rates and provisions? Or will India play safe, not wanting to upset the apple cart? Considering the roller coaster that the overall India-US relationship, and not just trade, suffered during the past year or so since Trump ascended into his second presidency and unleashed his tariff mayhem on an unsuspecting world. The Supreme Court ruling says the law Trump used or misused were for emergency use only, and in turn meaning that they could not just be the basis of the US government's formal trade policy. The ruling this weekend comes at a pivotal point in the whole India-US slowdowns. India's chief trade negotiator Darpan Jain is set to visit Washington in the coming days. The plan? To tie up the interim deal, which both governments were hoping to operationalize by April, pending of course a full-scale BTA or Bilateral Trade Agreement, which both nations hope will push the trade upwards of $500 billion by the end of this decade. That's not all. A delegation led by US Trade Representative Jameson Grieve is also scheduled to visit New Delhi next month. The question now is, does the court ruling substantially change the present schedule and all the visits? And will India play hardball now that Trump is on the back foot? General consensus is that India will not upset the apple cart yet, considering how the events of the past 1 year made the nation very painfully aware of how it did not have the strategic advantage countries like China or even the UK had, and why, after pivoting to align itself with the US over the past couple of decades in foreign policy, it is not easy for the country to suddenly change tack and find new strategic allies, let alone standing on its own. The matter here goes way beyond just trade and economy into overall geostrategic alliances and where the nation stands and how much weight it can pull in this new world order. There are already calls on India to reassess the present deal, the least of it from the government's political opposition, which has already gone to town billing the present interim deal as a sellout. The change in circumstances then makes the pressure on the Modi government to get tougher that much more harder. So it goes without saying that further negotiations will see the tenacious Indian negotiators trying to get more relaxations, but they'll have to walk on eggshells and ensure they don't rub the very temperamental Mr. Trump the wrong way. After all, considering the speed with which Trump came back with fresh legal provisions to impose 10% tariff on all countries right after the Supreme Court verdict, it is clear that there are more aces the White House can pull out from its sleeve, including provisions like Section 122 and Section 301. Not to forget non-tariff barriers and many other choke points a superpower like the US can pull on India. Modi's best case scenario would then be looking at relaxations in the larger BTA down the line later, hoping that circumstances remain favorable.